Well, hey, everybody. Hey, welcome to the Realine podcast where we talk about your faith, your family, and your money. I'm your host, CEO, and founder of Realine, Britton Rogers. And today is a special day as if any of you know this guest who's on the screen right now, you know that we have a pretty special guest. Kate McMullen, my brother-in-law, is on the pod today. And Kate, we're so glad you're here, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to do this podcast with you, Britton.
Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about for a while about having you on, and we primarily help serve coffee shops, and that's obviously a big love language of me and Caden's. It's a little bromance I think that we have.
It is. Yep. I sign a lot of my emails to Britton, Lord of the Beans.
Yeah,
So
I know. I'm cracking up every time I get an email from Caden because it's like, "Dear brethren, here's the," or something crazy, something crazy. So, in honor of you, cheers, cheers.
nice.
I didn't know if you were gonna bring some on or not. So
I don't, but I do have a Spindrift with
okay,
me
all
right
right.
now and a
Well,
bottle of water
I wouldn't judge you if you got up and made coffee, while we talk. So
in the middle of the podcast. Okay.
yeah, middle of the podcast. So
That's what we're on the podcast for, right?
yeah,
We're going to
actually,
make
that's what we're
a
here
cup of
for.
coffee together. Okay.
So, well, for my audience, we really wanted to just jump in and have Caden on today to really talk through his industry, the cleaning industry that he's been working in, and how he's using that for the glory of God. And want to talk through that today a little bit. But first, Caden, just wanted to for my audience who doesn't really know you, tell us a little bit more about you, about your wife, kind of just some backstory on who you are and what you're doing right now.
Yeah. Well, my name is Caden McMullen, and my whole life started when I was born. On day 2 of my existence. Just kidding. Yep, my name's Caden McMullen. My wife and I have been running a business, the Genesis Cleaning Co., for roughly a year now. Hannah and I, we've been married for 4 years, and this experience of running a business has been a huge adventure. Originally, Hannah was working for a cleaning business down in northern Kentucky, and we live in Indiana. And while she was down there for a couple of years, some friends within our church began to hear that Hannah cleaned houses and began to give her requests like, "Hey, can you come over to my place and can you come clean for me?"
Right.
And Hannah was thinking to herself, like, I really can't, my business stays in Kentucky
Yeah.
and I don't want to just clean on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And so she and a friend that she was working with in northern Kentucky started to talk to each other like, hey, what if we tried to start our own cleaning business
Yeah.
up here in Indiana?
Nice.
And as they began to talk about it, they started making some plans together.
Mm,
And then her friend got pregnant and said, hey,
that's funny.
I don't think I'm going to do the cleaning business anymore. And so
Yeah.
Hannah just sat there and was like, well, I've already made some progress. And we
Yeah.
got to talking and realized the place of life we were in, it just made sense. So me and Hannah took it on together.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I know. It's been really good for me just to be able to see, what kind of some of the stuff you're doing before this and then just now how grown. And I know we can get into that later, but how the business is doing. But it's really cool for me to see you and Hannah, jumping in and kind of just following this. I'll call it a calling, right? Like a calling that God has placed on you guys to do this. So I know that you'll never admit this to me, right? But when I say like, hey, you're an expert in the field, right? Like you've been doing this, like you're gaining all this experience. I know that you probably never refer to yourself, that way. But tell us a little bit more about the cleaning industry. Like what have you learned? What are the things that you guys have experienced? Some of the things that are like, hey, we're not gonna do this this way anymore. And then also just how is Genesis different? Like how is it different than any other cleaning cleaning company that's out there?
Sure. Well, some things I've learned being in the cleaning industry for 2 years now is it's really good to know what you don't do. Like you were saying, there are a lot of different separate industries
Okay.
that are sometimes related or paired with residential cleaning like we do, but are typically their own industry.
Mm.
And so over the last year, we've gotten lots of requests to do things, and we've learned how to gently say, we're going to stick to what we do best.
Yeah.
Um, and so,
Like what? Can you give an example?
yeah. So, like, carpet shampooing is a great example. So,
Okay.
some house cleaners are going to do carpet shampooing,
Gotcha.
others don't. And we're just
Okay.
going to leave that to
Leave it
their
there.
own industry professionals. And
Yeah.
like window washing, that's another great example. Something that is similar in
Yeah.
the cleaning industry, but is typically left to an expert in windows.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple of really good ones. But we've learned for our business, we try to stay with just the basics when it comes to
Mm.
cleaning, and there's a large enough industry where we live to be able to do that.
Mm.
So whenever we come into a house, we have a system we follow,
Okay.
and we do the same basic things every single time, and our system requires 2 people.
Mm.
So we're going to come in, we're going to do all of your basic things in a home, such as dusting, vacuuming, mopping, sanitizing high touch areas,
Mm.
tidying up the house, making it look nice. And then we'll also, for like add on fees, clean someone's oven or refrigerator. But really,
Okay.
outside of those things, we stay pretty much in one lane and just do
Yeah.
basic house cleaning type responsibilities. Yeah.
Okay. So more
Um,
interior. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
So that's just a little bit of a
Yeah.
broad overview, I suppose. But
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about some of the clients that you look for, that you serve, and talk a little bit too to me just about when we talk about how Genesis is different in the sense of talk to me about a little bit about your mission and about why the reason you started the business in the first place, because that's one of the big things that we focus on at Realign, as you know, is we want to help business owners get back to their why and the reason why they started it in the first place. So, talk to me a little bit about your heart and the mission behind Genesis, and who are you looking to serve? Is it anybody and everybody, or is it a specific audience? If not, that's okay. But just talk to me a little bit about those.
sure. As to the type of clients we serve, you would probably expect that we have quite a wide variety of individuals and families that we love to serve. So, pinpointing an exact umbrella that they all fall under is kind of impossible, but I will say we serve a lot of double income homes and like young
Okay.
families. And
Nice.
then there's also a lot of homes that we serve that are older individuals or couples who find doing house chores much more difficult in their older years.
Yeah. Right. That's cool.
Um, so that's a little bit about just, I suppose, the type of people we see most often reaching
Yeah.
out for our services. A little bit about like our mission
Yeah.
and core value. So Genesis Cleaning, my wife and I were Christians, and we wanted to represent just our Christian values in our business.
Mm.
And so as we began to bat around ideas for a name, the name Genesis Cleaning came up, and we both latched on to it quickly after many other failed ideas for a name.
That's funny.
The name Genesis is, of course, it's the first book in the Bible, and Genesis roughly means the beginning or the origin of something.
Mm.
And we have a theme verse for our business, which is Revelation 21:5.
Mm.
That theme verse, it's depicting Christ at the end of the Bible, and he says, "Behold, I am making all things new."
Hmm.
If you were to go around and poke on our website, you would see that phrase begin to pop up.
Okay.
Making all things new. And so when we look at what we're doing, we're motivated primarily by our conviction of the Bible.
Yeah.
We believe that as image bearers of God in our work, we are participating in a small microcosm of the greater story of Scripture, which
Mm,
can be seen through this picture of making things new.
mm,
Oftentimes, the overarching story of the Bible is described as creation, fall, redemption, and restoration.
mm,
So, God created a good and perfect world because he himself is good and perfect.
right.
We, mankind, are his creation while he is the creator.
Mm,
And we chose to rebel against that good God, ushering
sure.
brokenness, sin, and death into the
Yeah.
world. And though we deserve punishment and to be put out forever from God's good presence, he sent
Mm,
his son Jesus Christ in order to redeem mankind and to make us whole again. And
yeah.
he is bringing restoration not just to the souls of those who believe in Christ, but he will bring restoration to the whole world.
Mm, it's
And
good.
so when Jesus declares that he is making all things new, that is his redemption of the people of God and the redemption of this world he made and the kingdom he's bringing in it. And so when we look at Genesis Cleaning Co. and that theme verse, behold, I am making all things new,
Hmm.
we are participating in this new Genesis that Jesus is bringing with his work of redemption. We are coming into homes,
Yeah.
and our mission statement says that our mission is to restore homes into places of peace, rest, and joy, reflecting God's promise to make all things new. And so that's
Mm,
really our main motivation, is we see ourselves as a microcosm of making all things new in the greater scheme of the world, really.
yeah. Yeah. So good.
Yeah. And so our goal is not only to bring restoration to a physical space,
Mm,
but we're hoping just by our presence, our dedication to good and hard and excellent labor, and in being intentional in our relationships with our customers, that this peace, rest, joy that we are bringing into a home, a physical space,
yeah.
will make its way into the heart of the people we serve.
Yeah. Man, that's so good. Yeah. I think there's something about restoration. You keep talking about restoration. Like, what is something that, makes you guys stand out? Because you mentioned like clean and excellent work. And I think like that's something that is so like unbelievably far fetched in our world today. Like it is one thing to just go in and do a job, and it's another thing to go in and care deeply, like care so deeply about this person's home. Like I want to, in this hour that I'm cleaning, right, in this hour that I'm here with this customer who I may or may not know, it is my joy and my obligation to like leave this place better than I found it. Right, and, like, that's something that we try to do when we're talking about, people's from our standpoint, like, the bookkeeping and accounting world, it's like, we wanna make sure that we're leaving the books better than we found them. So, talk to me a little bit about that, like, have you had any experiences where you feel like you and Hannah have really gone in and you've kinda left a place better than you found it? Don't say every time because I know that that's not true. I'm just kidding. But, like, one story that really stands out, you don't have to give names, obviously, but one
Yeah.
situation where it stands out that, like, like, we felt like we left it better than we found it.
Yeah, there's definitely been stories like that. Something we try to embody as like another value in our business is we tell people that we offer judgment-free cleaning. So
Mm,
before I really get to your question, let me just preface it with that.
yeah, okay.
We found as we were entering a lot of homes of even people we knew and had good relationships with, people from church,
Yeah,
they would say, "Come over, clean my house." We'd show up and they would express things like, "I'm kind of nervous about you being here today." And
don't go through my
we
stuff.
we're just sitting there like what are you nervous about? Like like
Yeah,
you know us. Like,
yeah,
we're not going to judge you. And so we started telling people, especially just when we can discern a hesitancy, like someone's embarrassed
Mm,
maybe just about some of the dirt or mess in their home,
yeah.
like we really don't mind the mess. Like this is
Mm,
judgment-free cleaning. The
yeah.
state of your home does not reflect poorly upon who you are as a person, and we're just happy to serve you.
Yeah. That's good.
So there have been instances where homes were dirty or out of hand, and we left it all on the field, so to speak, where we would go above and beyond. But it's never a bother to us. As long as there's not roaches, bed bugs, and black mold, we don't mind.
Oh man.
We'll
Yeah,
help you
dude.
out as best as we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Please preface that before we come in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That's funny, man.
yeah.
Oh man. So yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you're keep going.
Um, I don't really think there's anything else I was going to add to it unless you want to
Yeah.
push
No, no,
deeper
no.
on
It's good.
something
No.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. I think you know you have to go into places. I remember one time hearing this guy that said, he hired a plumber to come in, and the plumber came in to their house but didn't take his shoes off. He didn't even
Oh
put like
boy.
bags over his shoes. He like
Yeah.
he had been, in mud, and so he was tracking mud through the house. Like just that lack of care. So they ended up bringing somebody else in, like a different plumber. And the next guy came in. He asked like he asked like about his shoes, about like if there's any specific thing that he could do to like make sure that their experience was good. It was just a whole different experience, right? Like you have one extreme and the other extreme, and I think that there's that in bookkeeping and accounting. There's sloppy bookkeepers, there's sloppy accountants, there's sloppy cleaners, right? Like, and so I think that this whole idea of like restoration, and for us the view is realignment, right? Like that's the whole mission of our company, is this idea of restoration and realignment, and how that they really are kind of trying to do the same thing. It's like getting people back to the basics,
Hmm.
right? And like whether you're a business owner or a home care provider, like Maggie, your sister, she's awesome. Being at home, like we did an episode. Me and Maggie did an episode not too long ago, just talking about like how do we keep things clean with a calendar, and how do we get back to the basics of like running a home,
It was
and
a
how
good
does that play
episode.
out
I
in our
liked it.
lives? And I think that that's something that's like the secret gem in today's world, is like if you can just be really simple and basic but excellent. That's the differentiator, right? But excellent in the work, then I think that your business is gonna thrive, like your family's gonna thrive, your joy for your work is gonna thrive. And so I just really love, hearing you say that. But I wanted to kind of just transition, like in a little bit of the time we have left, really to just I want to talk about your transition into like being a business owner. So, and kind of just what are some of the things that you're learning, as far as like individual growth, and your rhythms and your patterns, because like you were in ministry at one time. So talk a little bit about like ministry, and then also like what is it now being a business owner, and do you like it, do you not like it, like what are the things, the good and the bad?
Sure. Yes. So currently, I did serve in ministry for approximately 3.5, 4 years, and ministry still is it's what I aspire to do long term and full time.
Okay.
Right now, I'm actually a student in seminary. I go to Midwestern Seminary, which is located out in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
Obviously, taking classes online, living here in Indiana. With the experience that the Lord blessed me to have doing ministry in the past, gave me a new perspective, I suppose, caring for people, for
Mm,
lack of a better term. Not
okay.
that that is a bad one, but I think that enabled me to just care more deeply for people and also to just be more wise in relationships with people.
Mm,
And so as a business owner, I do
yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
do
that's
like
good.
it, and thank goodness it's being handed together.
Yeah.
together we're able to round out each other's weaknesses and handle it as a team. But that process transitioning into the business world after being in ministry for a few handful of years, I think just gave me a new perspective on humility in serving people and
Mm,
desire to serve people, and giving me just a better perspective on how to do that. So
yeah.
as far as desire is concerned, we love just getting to connect to people in our town
Yeah.
and just get to know more people. We have certain things we do to be intentional with the relationships we have with
Hmm.
the people in our business.
Okay.
Just keeping up with certain notes about big life events and following up with them, or writing people a letter.
Yeah.
And I've told people before, like, as a Christian business, it's our ambition, or just as Christians, it's our ambition to do things right,
Yeah.
but we're not always going to get it right,
Hmm.
but we're always going to try to make it right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a really important distinction.
Mm,
We're not always going to get it right, but we're always going to try to make it right. And
yeah.
so there's been a few instances so far in
Mhm.
this last year where an individual was like, "Hey, this, wasn't my expectation," or something, or, "Hey, we would go back. I've gone back personally to people's homes and got, went a little bit above
What you got?
to to help bring their home to a place that they were satisfied with, whatnot." So
Yeah. Makes sense.
yes, yes. So we're not always going to get it right, but we're going to try to make it right.
Mm. I
So
love
you
it.
had Yeah. So you had mentioned your question. You asked me a couple questions in one. You were saying,
Yeah. Just like about like as a business owner now, like, talk to me too a little bit just about like now you're paying people, right? Like you're
yes,
responsible
yeah,
for paying people and you're responsible for, all the things like marketing and, you got to deal with you got to deal with your bookkeeper. What a guy. And, you have to deal with, running the business. Like you're kind of wearing multiple hats. So that's kind of some of what I was getting at is like your experience with that. And are you enjoying it from that angle too?
yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely enjoying it
Yeah.
again. I would say one thing I've kind of learned
Mhm.
operating this business,
Mhm.
like I just mentioned,
Yeah.
I'm not a jack of all trades, in the
Yeah.
sense that I have weaknesses.
Yeah.
Hannah, my wife, has weaknesses. Sometimes
And
our
the
skill
people.
sets
No, just you.
offset the weaknesses of the other, but there's a lot of things both of us can't do. And
Mhm.
so being a business owner, I think, has helped me to learn how to ask for help
Yeah.
and to rely on community. So for instance, like, finances is not like mine and Hannah's strong suit. We can do
Yeah.
it, function in society, what have you.
Mhm.
But we realized to have our business to a professional standard
Yeah.
that we thought was excellent and could help us better serve our clients, it was a
Mhm.
wise decision to say, "Hey, Britton, we'd like to hire your services."
Yeah.
So one thing I've learned as a bookkeeper, or as one thing I've learned as a business owner,
Yeah.
is to just like rely on the people you know in the community around you. So hire a bookkeeper, ask for help.
Yeah.
We got involved in like a networking group,
Okay.
Whiskey City networking group here in Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
Yeah.
And the people there have just been stellar. They're such a sweet group of people. There's a lot of community support to be found in that. So
Awesome.
that's been a huge thing I've learned, is just how to care for people, how to ask for help.
Yeah. That's awesome. I really like what you said a few minutes ago about, like we're not always gonna get it right, but we need to make it right. And that actually happened to me recently too. Um and where I made a mistake, like this flat out, like I made a mistake, didn't check something twice, and it affected the financials obviously for this person, and I felt gut wrenching about it. Like it's
Uh,
one of those things you're like, man, like I just missed a detail, right? Like, and I'm sure that you've probably felt that in these couple of instances that you're talking about too. But it's like But, somebody reminded me too that that's a sign that you care deeply. Like, that's a sign that you really care deeply about making the work excellent. And it gave me a little bit, it helped me to kind of get out of that mindset because I was just beating myself up over the mistake over a couple days. And then one of my friends, good friends from down here, said that to me, and I was like, that's actually true. It's like, yeah, you make a mistake, but you can't sit and dwell in it. You know,
Yeah.
even with people who are trying to do excellent work and have good intentions. It's so I really like that you said that. So yeah, so talk to me about just a little bit too. One of the things that you had sent me was, I really like this. It says, "Give your mornings to God, your afternoons to people, and your evenings to family." So, what do you mean by that, and how does that play into the business and the day to day grind that you're in?
Yeah, good question. When I think about the responsibilities of anyone,
Mm,
this may particularly apply just toward like married men or fathers, not solely, but might particularly apply.
hmm
W- One of the really important things is to make sure one area of your life, of course, is not imbalanced so that
hmm
the things that matter aren't neglected.
hmm
And so you were asking me about realignment in light of that
Yeah.
question. And I think for me as a business owner, it helped me to experience and see more personally how easy it can be to become unbalanced, especially in work.
Okay.
Businesses, sort of like ministry as well, businesses will take as much as you give it. You put
That
one coin in the slot,
that is
you
the
can
truth.
keep going and keep
Yeah.
going and keep going, and there's not really definitive end point.
Yes.
Um,
That's so good.
so it becomes extremely important to ensure you have boundaries in your life to make sure you're not, say, shortchanging family, especially, or
Yeah.
shortchanging your local church. And so
Mm,
I once heard this little statement on here. It's not original to me whatsoever.
yeah.
And this statement requires it requires wisdom to apply it correctly because nobody's one's circumstances in life are perfectly alike.
Yeah.
And so that's not an end all be all statement, but I think it's a helpful framework for a lot of people, especially if you have more control over your schedule.
hmm
So when it comes to business, I'm thinking of a business owner who who has more time to spend working on the business
hmm
rather than in the business, if
Yeah.
that distinction makes sense.
Yeah.
And
Love
so
it.
their schedules have a little bit more flexibility. And it also, going back to the ministry piece, like you were saying, it applies to like ministry leaders who have a little bit more flexibility in their schedule. This framework, as you already said it, it's give your mornings to God,
Mm,
your afternoons to people,
yeah.
and your evenings to family.
Yeah.
Again, requires wisdom to apply it, but the central idea is have your order of relationships and things
hmm
in your life properly aligned.
Yeah.
So, of course, number one is any individual's relationship with God takes precedent over any human relationship. So I
Yeah.
love my wife dearly, but
hmm
my relationship to God is more important than my relationship to her.
Yeah.
And my relationship to her is directly impacted by my relationship to God.
Yeah.
And
100.
so I can't love my wife properly if I'm not first aligned
Mm,
in the spiritual matters between me and the Lord and essentially
hmm
walking upright before Him in my life. So
hmm
setting that place of priority, give your mornings to God, I
hmm
think is really important. Give your afternoons to people.
hmm
I think for a business owner can become easy to fill up a schedule, and it is a very wise thing to know what to put where
Yeah.
in your schedule. So for me, like I have a habit of wanting to put any meetings with people in my
Mhm.
afternoon slots of the day. So
Mhm.
for instance, we're
Yeah.
chatting right now. It's 3:51 Eastern time,
Yeah.
and you had suggested the time, but it fell perfectly in
Yeah.
light of like that framework I try to work out of often is give your afternoons to people.
Right. Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
have meetings or for an individual, like if you don't have flexibility in your schedule, that's your work day, right?
Mhm.
You give your afternoons to your trade,
Mhm.
and then give your evenings to your family. That is a very important priority, of course.
Yeah.
And that is just kind of the natural time and flow. That's not to
Yeah.
say you don't spend time with your family in the morning. That's not to
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
like you and I kind of both get to work from home and like you get to have lunch with, your family but it's a helpful framework that requires
Yeah.
wisdom to apply.
Yeah, and I think too it kind of goes right in sync with um kind of what I was talking about with Maggie on our last podcast was really the calendar. And I know you sent me some notes too, like on the calendar, but like if you can align this framework that Caden's talking about with your calendar and actually block it off. Like I actually have, and it's not like an exact science, right? But it's like, hey, from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., I'm pretty much like getting ready, spending time with the Lord, getting breakfast, kind of setting my day in motion. And then, from 8:30, 9 o'clock to the time when it's time to stop for the day is kind of where I give my attention to everybody else, all the other people, my work, like all of that. And then I have a hard stop. I try to have a hard stop at 5:30 just because Maggie usually has dinner ready by then. That's just the natural flow of our family, and our kids are dying to eat at that time, and so is Maggie. And so then we eat dinner, and we kind of have this rhythm of we're together until you know 8 when we put the kids down, and then after that it's me and Maggie's time until we basically go to bed. So, but yeah, that temptation for business owners to keep working past, the time that it's due. It's like it is this never ending. It feels like this never ending. Like, okay, but I could just squeeze in like 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, and then that's the hard thing about working from home. That you don't hear on social media, right? Is like, hey, this is actually like a little bit more of a discipline than going to a 9 to 5 where you
Yeah.
can go 5, for sure, and go home. But so, well, I love this, man, and appreciate you giving us, just the background of Genesis and the work that you're doing, and kind of this framework because I think that even though it's simple, um, one of the things that we keep trying to tell people is get back to the basics. Like if you're a business owner, get back to the basics. If you're no matter if you're a parent or a single individual, get back to the basics because in a world that is full of chaos, um, getting realigning and restoring ourselves back to the basics, I think is like just so important. So, thanks for being on the podcast with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me and invite me to have this conversation. Hope it's
Yeah.
profitable to whoever's listening.
Yeah, dude. In closing, I guess I just have one more thing to say. So, cheers. Right.
Cheers.
All right, man. Well, we'll talk to you. Thanks for being on. Appreciate it.
All right. See you, Britain.
All right.
Thanks.
See ya.